Welcome back to another episode of Two Plain Sports. As you guys can tell, we've got another guest host here. Last time we had Brody. This time we've got Jerry. He's actually Brandon's younger brother. And if you guys have been watching us for a super long time, you might recognize him. He was on a couple videos when we first started out. Thanks for joining, bud.
Sir, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no worries. So today we're going to talk about Oklahoma, the team, how it's been so far halfway through the season. We'll do a little bit of a foreshadowing to the upcoming game versus Iowa State. We're going to talk a little bit about Jackson Arnold and Peyton Bowen in the big high school game that happened last Thursday versus Denton Geyer and Allen. And probably some random topics here and there as we go through our conversation. So if you guys enjoy what we're talking about or love Oklahoma football like we do, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment about what you guys think during our conversation, and stick to the end around to the end of the video to do our end of video challenge. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's just start off with Oklahoma football and what it's looked like through the first 7 weeks of the season. I think it's probably fair to say that there was a big rough patch there in the middle. 3 straight losses, started off hot. Some were even saying Oklahoma could be a playoff team after the first 3 weeks. Clearly, that narrative changed very quickly after Kansas State, TCU, and Texas. But we came out, with a win right before a bye week against Kansas. What do you think this team can do after the bye week, Jerry? Do you think that there's plenty of wins out there still left on the schedule, or is it going to be a tough stretch to end the season for Oklahoma?
I think our team, when we have Gabriel, I think it's honestly a different team. I think it's not a playoff team like we all hoped. And like Brandon was saying before he left, 11 wins, 12 wins, whatever he was saying. But I mean, with Gabriel, we can put up points. We've shown it against decent teams and stuff like that. But I mean, I think 8 wins is probably what I'm maxing at with like a safe 7 is what I would put us at.
Yeah, that's fair. And looking forward to the rest of the schedule. So we have Iowa State this weekend, which is going to be tough for the offense. Iowa State's defense has been very good throughout the season, holding Kansas State to 10 points and Kansas to 14. So it's going to be, can our defense do enough to make Iowa State's offense look like it has been, or are we going to let them look like the best offense in the country, like we've let Kansas State and TCU and even Texas look during those games? After Iowa State, we've got Baylor at home, West Virginia at West Virginia, Bedlam at Norman, and then we end the season Texas Tech at Texas Tech. I mean, really, it seems like the two hardest games after this weekend are probably the away games, or I guess the hardest games left on the schedule to me are the away games. I think Oklahoma State, while they are 6-1 right now, they just pulled off a win against Texas. They don't look like world beaters to me. I'm sure someone else is going to disagree. Baylor hasn't looked amazing, 4-3, just like us, and their offense struggles every once in a while. Defense is still good, but they have some bad series every once in a while. Like I said, Iowa State's offense just is not very good. So it's really going to, I think this weekend is going to depend more so on our defense than our offense. Like, obviously, our offense needs to do what they've done every single week, but if our defense makes who's their quarterback right now? Is it Decker, or are they charting out Purdy
I honestly,
still?
honestly couldn't even tell you. The only person I know is that Hutchinson guy that's been there for like 12 years, it feels like.
Yeah, Xavier Hutchinson. I saw a stat that he was actually like one of the highest rated receivers according to PFF.
Yeah.
However much stock you put into that website, take that as you will. But he's a very good receiver. It's going to be tough to cover him. I think he's like 6'3", 6'2", so another big wide receiver challenging our
Yeah.
corners. I think Oklahoma, though, through the first 7 weeks, clearly huge ups and downs. But like you mentioned, Dylan Gabriel adds something completely different to the offense. He can actually throw the ball down the field, probably number one, and it helps with the running game. I mean, we saw even against Texas when we couldn't run or pass the ball down the field with Davis Bevel, the running game was fine. But when we last weekend against Kansas's defense isn't amazing, but having that deep threat with, or the threat to put the ball down the field with Dylan opens up those gaps for Eric Gray and Javante Barnes
Yeah.
to actually make some plays on the ground. I mean, do you think Marcus Major has anything to say about the next couple of games? I don't know how high you were on Javante before the season was started.
I was actually pretty high on Javante. I remember me and my boss at where I work at, we were doing over unders on players and stuff like that. He had Marcus being our leading rusher this year, and I actually told him that Javante would take that role about right when he's doing right now, and that's kind of what he's doing. I think it's going to continue that way and just grow into a bigger Javante role, and Eric Gray obviously because he's been having a great year.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to pretty much impossible for Javante to take over Eric Gray's
Yeah,
position. I mean, knock on wood. Hopefully there's no injury for him, but yeah, this offense is going to be rolling again. The defense has to step up. And last against Kansas, they did make some plays, forced a few turnovers, but I think there's still a lot of opportunities for them that they left out on the field, whether it's just missed tackles, uh, missed assignments, whatever it is that they're doing to continue making those mistakes. I think after this bye week, we'll see a lot of, maybe not a huge difference, but at least a significant difference from what we've seen over the last 4 weeks. Something
yeah,
that we actually talked about before we started recording was Venables as an assistant after a bye week or after a rest, his record. Historically, it's been pretty good. So throughout his 23 years as an assistant, he's 27-4 after a bye week or rest. That includes playoffs and bowl games. The rest that he gets for his teams between end of the season and whatever bowl game he's playing. So I think even though we don't know what he's going to do as a head coach, probably fair that he's probably taken some of those, I guess, characteristics of those past teams he's been on and applied them as a head coach, taught his assistants how to prepare, going through a whole schedule. We saw that the team was actually doing some community service in Norman, I believe. So he's
yeah.
definitely keeping at least the players engaged with the purpose of the team, the culture that he's building there. I expect Oklahoma to win, but I don't think it's going to be a pretty win.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. It's interesting because Iowa State was also on a bye, so they're both gonna have equal preparation. So it's gonna be interesting. But I do think OU wins this one. I think if we can just hold them to around 30, I think our defense has been not consistent at all. So I'm just hoping under 30. I think we can put up over 30. I think we can sneak out with a win.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like you said, it's going to be if we can score enough points, right?
Yeah,
Because I think it's again fair to assume that even though our defense may improve a little bit, probably not going to be holding anyone to probably less than 21 for the rest of the season. Even this Iowa State offense that has seemed to struggle here and there,
yeah.
they are on a roller coaster as well on that side of the ball. I mean, we'll see. I think it was against, who was Iowa State's last game? Was it Texas?
Texas. Yeah,
They
Texas.
they went out and their quarterback was, let me double check, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't Chuba during, yeah, it was Hunter Decker. But Chuba
Mhm.
has played throughout the year. I don't know which quarterback goes out there and which one's more dangerous, because Chuba never looked amazing, but neither has Hunter
Yeah,
Decker. Hunter Decker did play against us, I believe it was in not last year's game, but the year before, if I remember right. It's tough to remember
yeah,
some of these games, but
yeah.
we'll see how the Iowa State game goes. We'll preview it more later in the week, but throughout, let's go back to what we think about the Sooners through the first 7 weeks. Who would you say is so far the team's MVP on each side of the ball?
I think offense because of consistently and being healthy. I think we have to go with Eric Gray. Honestly, Mims has been nice, but Eric Gray, I feel like, has been the most consistent, great game every game. And then defense, I guess I'd probably go. Reggie started hot, but then consistently, I would feel like what have you, one of the linebackers, probably Stutz.
Yeah, it's tougher on the defense because they've had such bad performances.
Yeah,
And Eric Gray, yeah, I think Eric Gray is going to be my pick as well. I thought about saying Braden Willis, and I think that's going to be a very popular answer in the comment section. But I think it's hard to not pick Eric Gray because of the season he's having. He's up there in rushing yards, rushing yard average, he's scoring plenty of touchdowns. It's not like there's anything really lacking in his game so far.
yeah,
On defense, I'm going to actually go with a safety in Billy Bowman, even though he hasn't played the last few weeks. I think when he was in the game, he was, to me, the difference maker between, you know, the scores that were put up against us. And when he's in the game, it seems like we're able to stop a lot more of those deep threats with the corners, especially again with the receivers we played against, most of them
yeah,
being significantly taller than any of our DBs. he's fast enough to at least chase him down. Probably the fastest guy on the field for Oklahoma's defense. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm going to go with. Do you think that there's any way that Oklahoma can go undefeated here? I know you said 8 wins, and that would probably mean what you got 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 games left. So you think Oklahoma loses one? Which one do you think is Oklahoma's loss?
Honestly, Baylor for some weird reason. I don't I don't know what I'm not even know much about them, but I just not feeling good about the Baylor game.
Yeah, Randa does a good job in game planning. I don't know. It's tough to pick out a specific loss, maybe against Texas Tech
Yeah, they've
because
been
it
nice.
is in Lubbock at the end of the season. But I feel like if we're hot on a 4-game win streak there, why not
That's
just cap off the season, right?
yeah,
With
that's my
with
kind
the
of my
dub.
thoughts.
So I mean, and it's probably very biased. I'm sure some in the comment section are probably saying that we're sunshine pumpers, or I am for not being able to see a loss here. But when we started the season, I guess maybe Oklahoma State, definitely a dangerous team here right now, but it's in Norman. I think that's going to at least play a factor in benefiting Oklahoma. But before the season, like you said, Brandon thought, well, we're for sure 11-1 or 12-0. I mean, I didn't believe that. Definitely didn't think it'd be this bad, but I think Oklahoma's going to be just fine to end the stretch here. Let's talk a little bit about the Thursday game. Jackson Arnold versus Michael Hawkins, 5-star commit to Oklahoma versus a very highly touted quarterback prospect in 2024 class of Michael Hawkins. And there's other players as well that Oklahoma was looking at there. What did you think about the game? What was the most impressive thing, I guess, to you?
I mean, I think it's hard to argue that Arnold didn't pretty much have a perfect game. I think he was 25 of 28 or something like that, 3 or 4 incompletions. I don't know the exact stat line, but I mean, pretty much the perfect game. He was making elite throws, pro throws. It looked like. I mean, comparing to my high school union, I never see throws that he was making. It's a bunch of slants and dump offs, and Arnold's out there slinging bombs and stuff.
Yeah, it was impressive how he handled the pressure that he got when he did get some on him. He didn't he didn't look rattled when he had
Yeah,
defense in his face. It was in the first series. He was the defensive line managed to surround him in the pocket. He put a perfect pass to Landon Sides. Seems like it's
yeah,
his favorite receiver.
yeah,
Right, right in the sweet spot. Sides made a play for a few more yards, but yeah, I agree. Jackson Arnold did amazing. To me, I think it was Peyton Bowen though. That dude is
yeah.
everywhere on the field on defense. Makes special plays on in the returning game. I think we all know that Peyton Bowen's really talented, but I didn't think I've never gotten to see a full game. Highlights can kind of be deceiving because they're just showing you the
Yeah,
best of what they have. But his highlights are seem to be coming in every game. Dude, first
yeah,
series made like a huge play for a tackle for loss, read the defense or the offense perfectly on a screen pass, was able to tackle the receiver. The the punt return, I think. Yeah, punt return where he
broke like
just
20 tackles.
yeah, he looked like Marshawn Lynch out there, and he's
Yeah,
like 50 pounds lighter than any big running back in the NFL. Like he makes it look super easy. And I think it's interesting that Lebby and Brandon Hall was there. It wasn't just Lebby to talk with Jackson Arnold and evaluate the offensive talent, but Brandon Hall, no matter what, is still going after both the Bowen brothers. And what Eli didn't show a lot of stats out there because Michael Hawkins had a tough time getting the ball in the air and making any big plays that way, along with Ryan Yates. But they're not going to stop recruiting both those safeties in Yates and Peyton, even though Yates did say last week he posted
yeah,
on
on
social
Twitter.
media said his commitment was or his recruitment was closed. Clearly, the Oklahoma staff isn't going to take that. They're going to make sure that they're continuing that communication, and that's fair, right? When you need safety depth and you have two players right there with your, I guess, prize of the 23 class, you might as well continue to have that communication open with his teammates.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance that Peyton flips anytime soon? From what you've read or just from what you've seen?
I don't know if it'd be anytime soon. I don't know. He's just so weird. One weekend he looks like he's doing it. In the next 10 minutes he's going to announce it, and then he looks like he just forgot about OU in total. I still think we get him for some reason. I got a weird feeling, but I don't think it's anytime soon.
Yeah, the girlfriend never loses. I think that's
Yeah,
that's kind of what I've kind of come down to. As long as his girlfriend's
yeah,
going to Oklahoma, I think why Oklahoma should be the front runner. Obviously, A&M is still there, and he's still committed to Notre Dame. So it's not like in any way this is a foregone conclusion that he's going to be at Oklahoma or that he flips. But again, with his girlfriend attending Oklahoma, one of his best friends attending Oklahoma, and playing for the football team, it does seem like Oklahoma is the front runner if there was to be a flip. But we can never
Yeah,
count A&M out, as much frustrating as it is, and as much as they
with their
suck.
checks, you mean?
Yeah, with their bag man going around. I mean,
Yeah,
they have a very bad season, and I don't see people freaking the hell out about how they're going to lose all their recruits.
it's
So
so weird. OU
yeah,
fan page goes crazy. I do it myself, but yeah, you go look at Twitter and Texas A&M aren't even worried. It's just weird.
yeah, and I mean, either it's the fan base, we have self-inflicted wounds with our fan base, or their fan base just doesn't care, they don't have one, or maybe they're just so
Confident with their
secure
money.
with the fact that either the player loves school or the bagman came up with enough cash, whatever reason it is. For some reason, they just don't freak out because they're
Yeah.
terrible. Their offense can't
Hmm.
do anything. I was surprised. I went on Twitter because I was busy on Saturday. I kind of just assumed at least Texas A&M, even if it was a close one, would have pulled it out.
Yeah.
South Carolina and Spencer Rattler actually looked pretty good against them from what I saw
I don't.
in the few
I
bits
didn't
I
watch the
got.
game either, but I checked the box score probably what you did, and I think Spencer only completed like 16 passes. Like I don't know what A&M is doing. They just suck, I guess.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't make sense how they're getting 5 stars, even with money. I mean, you see other teams. It's not like they're the only team with money or the only program with high donors or
Yeah.
big donors. That I mean, who knows? We'll see. I know a lot of people probably want to hear about DJ Hicks. There's no new information that's come out there. The coaches are talking to him still, which is what we expected. Recruiting isn't done until the player signs that piece of paper, both for the players currently committed to Oklahoma and for the players that Oklahoma wants to go after.
Yeah.
I.e., DJ Hicks and Peyton Bowen. You just got to keep that communication and hope that once there is maybe a little bit of doubt creeping in their heads, you're able to capitalize because you're continuing to build that relationship. But
Yeah.
I mean, the this weekend was pretty good with football, college football. I mean, we're recording on Sunday, so Sunday night football still going on. But I think after this weekend, Oklahoma doesn't look as bad as they did with that 3 game stretch because Texas lost against Oklahoma State. And Quinn Ewers, the bits I saw of that game, he had some really good highs and some really bad lows,
Yeah.
missing receivers. Didn't he? I'm pretty sure he threw a pick on the first series of the game, and a pick on the last series of the game.
I know he did
So
last series for sure. Yeah. I
he,
think he was the only quarterback to attempt over 45 passes and only complete under 20 or something like that
yeah,
ever.
that's tough. And it apparently there's again rumors, so nothing concrete here that Jonte
Oh
is
yeah.
kind of think creeping around with the idea of potentially looking around more for his commitment for his call it where he's going to play college ball. So we'll see what transpires with Texas and A&M, and if Oklahoma's able to get back into any of these recruitment conversations for some of the players we were targeting in both of those classes. I think it's really mainly with A&M's class that Oklahoma's probably going to try to grab a couple of players from. But yeah, I mean, we're finally football's back for Oklahoma. It was a nice bye week, but not a big fan. Kind of wish we could just play the 12 weeks out, but the players need the rest, the coaches need the
Yeah, it's probably
rest.
good for the players.
Yeah, I'm pumped that we get to play again this weekend. But again, like you mentioned, with Iowa State also being on a bye week, I think both teams with fresh legs are going to be a much different game than if we were playing against them. If they weren't on a bye week, so I think it's going to be a good game. Again, will the defense be able to make them look how they have looked, or maybe just a little bit better than how they have looked? I just don't want
Yeah.
them to make Decker look like a Heisman finalist
Yeah. I
because
just want to see a consistent game out of the defense. We have flashes, like 3 drives, we look great, and then it's just wide open touchdowns or something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
Just want some
it's weird.
consistency.
A very, very bad consistency. But I mean, short video today. Not too much to talk about. Not a lot of information is coming out. We just wanted to get back on, talk Oklahoma football. Like I said, we'll do a game preview later in the week. That go a little bit deeper into Iowa State's team. I'm sure there'll be some injury updates. We all expect Billy Bowman to hopefully be back during this game, but I know with injuries, there can always be complications or timelines aren't always concrete. So we'll be back on probably Wednesday's video with some of those updates, talk more in depth, like I said, about the game, and uh, probably some recruitment talk later on because recruiting never stops. So, in the video challenge for this week, let's just tell us what your favorite game was of college football. I think mine, from what I got to watch, again, like I said, I was kind of busy. I think it's going to be the Clemson game. I really thought that that Syracuse was going to pull it out and be able to upset Clemson, but Cade Klubnik showed that he might be the right guy to replace DJ Uiagalelei even this season. I don't know if DJ is going to get a spot back. We'll
Mm,
see. Will Shipley looks like the dude at running back. Probably, I think he's kind of slept on. Might be the best running back in college football right now. A lot of people think it's still Bijan Robinson. Not saying that he's not good, but Will Shipley looks like a man amongst boys sometimes in
yeah,
college
he does.
football. Do you have a favorite game of the weekend, Jerry?
Honestly, kind of an underrated one. The Tulsa versus Temple. I just he wasn't playing, so I was watching random games, and that Tulsa Temple game was pretty good.
Yeah, I saw a couple of plays from that game and it looked pretty good. Wasn't the score pretty close throughout the game?
Yeah, Tulsa came back. They were down something early. My stepdad's a big fan, so he was watching, but they came back eventually.
Good pick. For those of you watching, make sure let us know what your favorite game was this weekend. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and follow us on all social media platforms. And if you don't really like watching videos, or if you don't have time for it, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on there. Follow and rate the show on those platforms as well. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.